republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So first we're going to do a couple of things. Read a little bit here for us. So welcome everyone and thank you for tuning into tonight's meeting. We value our residents and community members and promote our dual attention where we close during our business hours to protect you all. We want to make sure that anyone that wants to participate and provide information to do so. State statutes allow the city to conduct meetings by telephone, and the council is to take action to allow our city council and commission meetings to temporarily take place remotely during this pandemic. This meeting will be open to the public, but the auctions set forth by the Center Services Council will set the Department of Health and Carver County Public Commission. Alternatively, participants can join in this meeting remotely via Zoom conferencing services. Zoom is a free service and can be accessed via the phone. On mobile devices, you can download your Zoom or from desktop devices, you can log into Zoom.us from your computer or cell device. Or just want to participate online and part of this conference, you can dial 1-255-215-1782 or 901-715-8592. When prompted, you would enter the following information. Our meeting ID number is 657-340-889. That's 657-340-889. And the password is 729. And the password is 729. And again, the numbers, the phone numbers to dial are 253-215-8782 or 301-715-8592. Let's see, for anyone joining us by phone only, please be aware of these important instructions. We're broadcasting and recording this meeting. You will also need to watch the meeting online and see any visuals presented. There can be up to 1 minute delay for the live conference call to the live audio broadcast, meaning the call will be up to 1 minute ahead of when you sync up your Zoom. Please mute any external devices like TV, music, or computer speakers to avoid distractions and keep us listening. All participants calling in the meeting will be muted until citizens' comments are recognized. You will be prompted by the mayor to speak into the microphone. Lines will temporarily be unmuted when the mayor calls for public comment. We ask that anyone wishing to address the council ask to be recognized, respectful, wait your turn to speak, and don't speak over the microphones. It is important that all council members and all members of the public are able to hear each other and the discussion. So please speak loudly, speak clearly, and speak directly into your phone or microphone. Please listen carefully to the cues. Callers wishing to be recognized must get into the queue when prompted by the mayor. Callers will still need to provide their names and addresses for the record. Finally, different from our usual process, all actions of the council will be taken by a roll call vote. This is a new process for us all, and we thank you for our patience and constructive feedback as we work through this unprecedented situation. We are all working hard to ensure your voice is heard while maintaining everyone's health and safety. All right, and Brent, you told me that you need to take.
Yep, so we'll start with our roll call for attendance. Councilmember Henry. Councilmember Mock. Councilmember Sayre. Councilmember McKnight. Mayor Johnson.
Present. We're good? Okay. Let's see. So the agenda items. So the special meeting is being held to consider the adoption of Resolution 108-20, a resolution enacted under the authority of Minnesota statutes 12.29 and 12.37 to extend the period of a mayor-declared local emergency, and under the authority of the Minnesota statutes 13D.021, subdivision 1, to provide for telephonic meetings. In addition, the city will also consider the adoption of the Employee Reference Manual and Fire Department Standard Operating Procedures policy amendment. All right. Mr. Merrick.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the first item in your packet is Resolution 10820, peacetime emergency due to the COVID-19 health pandemic. The item is largely procedural. The items that the mayor had previously mentioned related to telephonic meetings, but the primary use is to ensure that if there is future disaster relief funding available to cities, that we're eligible for that. Now, the county has already adopted a declaration of emergency, the governor has, etc. This is kind of a double knot version of that, making sure that we have that. I say that to make clear the point that there isn't any unique public health situation in the city of Carver. That's not why the city is, or this council is being asked to declare the emergency. It's essentially to make sure that we have our place in line to be eligible for disaster relief funding should that become available to the city of Carver. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions? Okay. Should we just, since I can see the three of you, Christy, Joy, and Glenn, just procedurally, do you guys want to just raise your hand if you guys have any, or just, put a finger up or something, like some visual cue if you have any questions. And then, Lori, if you want to turn on your video, that would be terrific. Otherwise, if you just want to comment for tonight, if you have any comments, just to make things a little bit easier. All right, so hearing no comments, we would next go to see if there are any questions from the public. So I'm going to leave that open for about a minute, and I think it's going to look a lot like a minute of silence while we're waiting for questions from the public.
Sure.
Okay. And the reason for that is the delay. So.
So we need a motion and a second, if
Okay.
the council so willing.
Okay. Did you guys hear, Brent? We need a motion in a second. So I'll make the motion that we adopt Resolution 108-20. Is there a second? Okay. Saw Christy with the second. Thank you. I saw your lips move, but I have my volume turned down so that there's just a fraction of a delay so that it's not confusing when I hear Brent. So, okay. Motion by Mayor Johnson, second by Councilmember Mock. Any further discussion? Okay, we're going to have to do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Henry? Councilmember Mock? Councilmember Sayre? Councilmember McKnight? Johnson.
All right.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. All right. Now we need a separate motion.
Now I'll go over the emergency policy amendments related to the Employee Reference Manual and Fire Department operating procedures.
Okay. Sorry, I'm lost in my notes here. Just a second.
Sure.
So we'll tee those up.
Yep.
Okay.
So Mayor and Council, we have a half a dozen policy amendments related to the Employee Reference Manual and Fire Department standard operating procedures. We may have more along the line. One of the things that this pandemic is, I think, teaching all of us, it's very hard to plan for a week or a month from now, much less what tomorrow's going to bring. But we're trying to do the best that we can to encounter situations as they arise. And so some of these are in response to things that we find would be issues locally, and some of them are in response to some federal guidance related to providing employees with additional sick leave.
I see you, Glenn. Hold on. Let's let Brent finish. Okay, he's readjusting and is going to get a little closer to his computer.
Okay. How's this? So I'm working on trying to speak into the microphone, but maybe it's better on for the council to hear me through this.
I-
We're doing this. How's this? How's this better? Okay.
It's down as low as it is. questions, comments? Lori?
No payroll issues, I simply some cash in. It is a payroll, we are fortunate, we have put up with a lot of. We have our payroll. Most things we have been. Did make arrangements with, have some analysts and organization. Finance folks, after they process of payroll. Contingency, actually. Pardon? I didn't, none of these are, I didn't feel like there was anything, or there was any definite consequence. These were feedback and existing policies. So I can certainly run it by them and I didn't feel.
I feel like this is a give policy more than it is a take, so I don't know that it's necessarily anything that we need to have lawyered. And I certainly don't want to have that get in the way of the speed and kind of the nimblest response that we have to this emergency. Any other questions? All right, that I'd entertain a motion. We have a motion by Councilmember Mock and a second by Councilmember McKnight. So, guess we didn't do this last time, but when we do the roll call vote, we have to say our name. So, say your vote and then say your name is what's being requested of us. So, Mr. Mayor, can we do a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Mock. Councilmember Sayer. Councilmember McKnight. Mayor Johnson.
Courtney Johnson, aye. All right, motion passes. All right. I think that's it.
Just have a few items for the council related to COVID-19. The city initially notified residents and the council related to closure of public facilities, both City Hall, fire station, and public services building of a March 31st date, or at least till March 31st. Based on CDC updates and updates from the governor, I would ask that the council support moving that back till April 30th, and then at our upcoming council meetings, we can check in if that needs to, if we can move it up or take it off earlier, great, but trying to avoid a situation where we're moving that back every week and kind of diluting our message a bit on services. And then related to that, just for the planning that goes into some of these special events, extending the cancellation of events in City Hall and Church by the River also through April 30th. So just wanted to check in with the council to see if anyone had any concerns or objections before we communicate that. Okay. Moving on, a couple updates. Aaron, Jessica, and Brian and Brenda have been working in the inspections services area related to doing video inspections. I got that idea from the city of Delano, and so Aaron is working on some communication items and reaching out to some of our project partners. So a really exciting way and creative way, I think, to handle inspections and still provide a safe environment for our employees to get that done. The department heads and I are also working on a contingency plan should the governor issue an order for shelter in place. So we'll have to get an idea of how they define essential services and some of the other services the city does and react to that. One of the primary pieces that we're working through is how we'd handle our phone system, perhaps using an auto attendant, making more available our extension numbers so people, instead of calling the main city line, can access individual employees a little easier. Yes. Oh, sorry. So I'll go over the shelter in place item one more time. So should the governor order a shelter in place, we're developing, the department heads and I are developing a contingency plan. So part of it would dig into what the essential services are defined in his order. We're assuming that it'll be, that we'll still be able to do the water and sanitary sewer, etc. But a big piece is, will that include building inspection services or not? So part of that is going to be fluid. But the big piece is also handling the phones and being able to help residents with questions. And so we're looking at a variety of options, from call forwarding to an auto attendant to doing a better job of sharing extension numbers of certain employees so people can get to the right place without having to call multiple numbers. So as more information becomes available, we'll share that with the council and residents. But right now we're putting kind of a skeleton plan in place, and then once we get the detailed information, we should be able to insert some critical pieces of information and then be off and rolling. Any questions related to that? Did you have something there?
No. So just as we're trying to work out the bugs, Christy sent me a note saying to turn off my mic. Christy, I'm trying. I can't. Oh. I feel like you're blaming. I'm hitting the mute. Oh, there. I'm muted. Is that
good?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And that's why we're excited about the shelter or the video inspections, because it shouldn't compromise anybody's health or safety if we are able to do that. Aaron had shared with me today that we got 6 new building permit applications for new homes, so hoping that still remains strong. Another item related to COVID-19, in order to make the most efficient use of your time, what we're going to do to avoid having 2 call-ins, we'll make the council and work session meeting into one. We'll have you run through the regular business of the meeting, And then at the end, under council communications, that's where we place our work session items. That way you don't have to do a call at 5:30, and then there'd be some lag, and then another call at 7. We just do all the business at 7 p.m. Does anybody have a concern with that? No, we're good?
Does, sorry, does that mean that we're pushing, so if we're out of here by 8, we're here until 9:30 for an hour and a half work session?
Yes.
Could we start, we're statutorily obligated to start at 7, right?
No,
Could we
just
push it?
just by ordinance, you could change your meeting times and start at 6 o'clock if you'd like.
Would you guys like to start earlier? Do you guys see what I'm saying? If we kind of do in reverse order, I see us potentially being here until 10 o'clock or later. Any objections, Glenn, Lori?
So we'll start your April 6th meeting at 6 p.m. And then I'll connect with Larry Harris on the best protocol to handle that going forward. And then the last item, I'm sure most of you know, but I just wanted to say it again for the council's benefit and any residents who aren't aware. Southwest Transit has temporarily suspended services out of Carver Station, along with Carver County temporarily suspending servicing the Express Library that's located in Carver Station. And due to that, we've closed the building until such time that those services are offered again. So those are the updates that I have. Happy to answer any questions on items that I didn't cover.
Christy?
Yes, so Deputy Sandberg and Deputy Possard are still running their regular shifts. I had a had a conference call, with Sheriff Cameroon and all the other contracted cities in the county. They have a plan to. They're going to be less likely to get after what I'd say are kind of community-based concerns, where loud party, maybe dog complaint type of issues, and they're going to really be focused on the public safety piece. The primary concern is if a deputy ends up getting sick and then in turn infects other deputies, and so they're being really cautious and mindful about their responsibilities. And we also talked about if our daytime deputy should get sick, or evening deputy, that there might be a gap in service, and that we'll have to work through that, or maybe a general patrol would run through Carver, as opposed to just strictly backfilling that if they don't have the staff to meet that need. But as we sit here today, our service is 100% the same as it has been during this year. I think we can for sure follow up with them and say that that's what we'd like them to do. Yep. Check for locked doors, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? All right, should we do a quick round of council communications?
Sure.
Christie? Okay. Glenn? Joy? Lori? Okay. I just have a couple of quick things, just to give you an idea of where my brain is at right now, I kind of jotted down 4 priorities as we're going through the pandemic, all the COVID stuff. Number 1, my first priority is to do whatever I can to help keep the people in Carver, including city staff, healthy. Number 2, maintain essential services, and to do so in a way that the public notices no difference in the delivery of these services. And the services that I'm referring to are fire, police, water, sanitary, sewer, flood protection, and snow plowing. Heaven forbid, but knocking on wood that we don't have to do any more snow plowing this year. Number 3, support and advocate for the business community in Carver. Yesterday I emailed the Carver business owners, and in the weeks ahead, I think that we're going to be having more conversations as a council, and I want to see us get really creative as a council as to how we're going to support our businesses. So I just kind of want to plant that seed. I don't have any answers yet, but I think if we all noodle on it, we're going to come up with some awesome suggestions, thoughts, ideas. And then 4, which is always important, but to maintain government transparency. Our meetings are going to continue to be accessible, and we will continue to communicate with the public despite the issues that we're experiencing with social distancing and the pandemic. And then finally, I have one ask. Please practice social distancing, which I appreciate all you guys doing tonight. Don't congregate. It makes me more than just a little bit uncomfortable seeing all of these individuals all in groups using our parks or out just conglomerating all in one area. We are not at a point, taking a half step back, I strongly believe in the physical benefits of being outside, especially these days when you're cooped inside and all of your kids, of exercise and getting your steps in. That's why I think the parks and the trails are such an awesome amenity, just in general, but especially right now. And they're still open, and in the city of Carver, we have no plans on shutting them down. That said, public health officials continue to stress the need for physical distancing of at least 6 feet away. That means if you put your arms out and the person next to you puts their arms out, you're not touching in any direction. So if folks can please just heed that advice. It's not for you, it's for the folks that you're going to continue to get sick. So that's a best practice, that's the safest way, and that's all I have right now. Yeah, glad.
Yeah, Lakeview Industries, we're trying to create some partnerships. They are working on developing a face shield to help the medical industry in battling COVID-19. And so we had a conference call today with them and the county. And so they're trying to work out the details to find them some space to be able to create some extra production. Before the council considers adjournment, I just wanted to take this opportunity for any to-dos related to these Zoom calls. So my one takeaway is to make sure that when I'm sharing or when we have staff sharing, that we're focused on the computer and not so much kind of the physical environment that we're in, so that you can hear us. Anything else that we can fine-tune between now and April 6th?
Can you hear yourself? Is that distracting? 'Cause I can't figure out how to turn my speaker down any lower, and I can't completely turn it off because that's the only way that I'm hearing everybody. Can you hear that feedback?
A little bit, but I'm starting to get used to it.
Okay. I know it can be incredibly distracting, so.
All right.
Anybody else have issues, bugs that we experienced tonight that you think we can work through, you want to note? Are you guys all dialing in on your iPads and then referencing materials on desktops or laptops. Right, that's what I'm thinking of, for a more meaty meeting with a beefier agenda, trying to figure out how I'd be able to follow along more succinctly. So maybe I'd dial in from my iPhone. Okay, just thinking out loud.
One of the things we can explore too is we can, I have the ability to mute all. And so if someone calls on you then I can take it off, but then I suppose that won't work either because then everybody's off, so.
So I think what we can, I think, Lori, what you can do is you can get so that you don't see all of us, or you could dial in on your iPhone and then use or your phone, period, and then use your iPad for the packet. I think staff will certainly accommodate, but I hate to get back into the hard copy packets. Say that again, Lori. It's going to be a learning experience for all of us. Thank you all so much for. Yeah, great.
Yeah, because April 6th we'll have Jonathan Carver Parkway Improvement Project, so there'll be some, you'll want to have your iPad, as well to have Dan Lanas do a screen share and walk through what you're looking at. So it'd be, I think, good if you can access it through your phone, or actually no, through your iPad would probably be the easiest.
To access the meeting.
Correct.
Document.
Because if you have Zoom on your phone, you won't be able to see the maps as well. Or a screen.
But we would have them in our packet too, right?
Correct. I just did that. It's the grid view.
And you're just in the corner, and you can see everything else in the back. Oh. But I was thinking, oh, so if I'm not in Zoom, you can't see me. You see me now?
No, you must have turned your video off.
No, my video's on. I'm just trying to pull up a document to.
Oh yeah, now we can see you.
Okay. So.
So I can do a screen share. Maybe not.
You know, Brent.
How about I'll explore some best practices and report back to the council.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, Brent and I'll have a couple of Zoom meetings this week. I'll try to use my iPhone instead of my desktop, just to see if that works, using a couple of different I think just as long as you have a different source via your laptop or whatever. Oh. Noted. All right, any other questions, comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. A motion by Councilmember Henry. And a second by Councilmember Sayer. Mr. Mayor, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Henry. Councilmember Mock. Councilmember Sayer. Councilmember Knight. Mayor Johnson.
Courtney Johnson, aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Have a good night.